Who should bowl for England in Perth? We've had comments from Jack Butler and X2250 saying Ahmed or Jacks and Leach or Bashir. Now I'm going to change that and make it my Ashes questions. And my question is, which spinner should England pick to play in Perth? Or do you think they need a spinner at all? We're going to have a look at who's played well in Perth. We're going to have a look at who England's options are, and we're going to have a look at my decision in the end. So stick around and welcome back to episode 3 of Ashes Questions. So the Perth Stadium, who does it suit? Who's played well there? Well, there's all this talk, isn't there, about how spinners can't play in Perth. You know, it's tough to bowl spin in Perth. Well, since the birth of the Perth Stadium, we'll have a look at here the Aussie bowlers, who's bowled well for Australia. And ding dong, top of the list is Nathan Lyon. 29 wickets in 5 tests, averaging 21. He took 6 for 128 against West Indies, and he took 5 for 67 against India in 2018. He's also taken a 4-fer against New Zealand there. Mitchell Starc's solidly in second place, but it shows that spin is really not off the radar when it comes to Perth. So let's have a look at the away bowlers. Well, often away teams have gone to pick their spinning all-rounders to bowl spin at Perth. Okay, and it's fair to say they haven't been too successful. First up though, let's see the one who was relatively successful. Washington Sundar bowled 17 overs in 2024 in the match, getting 2 for 49. But that's about where the success for spinning all-rounders starts to diminish. So let's have a look. 2023 Pakistan spinning all-rounder Salman Algar got figures for the match of 122 for no wicket. 2022 though, Roston Chase in the first innings bowled 0 for 140, another all-rounder who bowls a bit of spin. And in 2019, Mitchell Santner, who's arguably a bit of a frontline spinner, in the match had figures of 0 for 136. So Australia are the only team that really bowl a frontline spinner in games at Perth, and everyone who's come to meet them have played that spinning all-rounder. Even India, who played Washington Sundar in that test match last year. So let's have a look now at which away bowlers have done well then. Well, top of the list, you might have expected it, Jasprit Bumrah. 2 matches in Perth, 13 wickets at an average of 12. Best bowling figures of 5 for 30 in 2024. How ridiculous is that bloke? At second, to take 9 in the 1 match he's played, Tim Southey in 2019, 5 in the first, 4 in the second, averaging 18. And at third, it's Amir Jamal, the right-arm pacer from Pakistan. In 2023, he took 6 for 111 in 2023. And in fourth, we won't go further than fourth, is Neil Wagner. Again in 2019, took 7 in the match. Pretty strong from those pacers, showing just how successful pace is in Perth. The 10th best bowler was our first spinner, and that was Washington Sundar. So the best spinner to ever go away to play at the Perth Stadium, remember we're not including the whacker on this list, was Washington Sundar. So as away teams look to pick those spinning all-rounders to play, and Oz are the only team to pick Nathan Lyon as their frontline spinner, the question is, does the weight of that frontline spinner outweigh the runs that a spinning all-rounder gets you? Now then, England's options. Let's start with the man that England would pick if they were to continue showing faith and loyalty. One man, England's frontline spinner, Shoaib Bashir. Now, there's been a lot of talk for a long time, well, since he made his debut at the start of 2024, that Shoaib Bashir's overspin and his height combined could produce a huge amount of bounce, which might be really helpful in Australia. We're going to come on to his England Lions stats, where he went down under to Australia last winter. But it's fair to say, out of England's options, he's the best equipped out of all of them to be able to make use of Mitchell Starc's footholds. Mitchell Starc bowling from left arm over the wicket would give Bashir plenty of opportunity bowling to the right-handers to really make use of those footholds. So he's also the youngest Englishman ever to take 50 wickets. He's got 68 at an average of 39. But did that convert on the England Lions tour last winter? Well, He took 1 wicket, exactly 1 wicket in every innings he played, bar one, where he took 0. 5 innings he bowled in, 1 for 37, 1 for 54, 1 for 62, 0 for 47, and 1 for 74. And fair to say that on a few occasions, he took a fair bit of tap, going at quite a strong economy, especially in that first game, first innings, he went at 7.3 per over, but I think one of the Aussie lads hit a 60-ball ton, so fair play to him. But on the other end of the spectrum, Shoaib Bashir doesn't provide much with the bat. As we've said, away teams in Perth pick spinning all-rounders. Bashir's certainly not one of those, averaging 7 in Test cricket. So if England follow in the footsteps of other away teams to play in the Perth Stadium, they'll be picking that spinning all-rounder, which looks to be Will Jacks at the current time. Now, Will Jacks on debut against Pakistan in 2022 took 6 for 161. On a dry Bunsen burner in Pakistan. So fair to say he knows how to take some wickets out in Test match cricket. He also scored 89 runs off 90 balls. Strike rate of 98 in those 2 Test matches that he's played. So he is going to go out and whack it if he plays for England in the Ashes down under. He's also got fairly decent first class stats too. He's got a better average with the ball than Shoaib Bashir. Take that and drink it. But Will Jacks knows how to take wickets. He knows how to score runs at a considerable rate. However, my gut tells me that Will Jacks is nothing more in this series than the ultimate backup. He can bat however you want him to bat, and he can bowl whenever you need him to. But that makes him, for me, the backup for whoever England need for a certain Test match later down the line in the series. So I don't think Will Jacks will be playing the first Test in Perth. But then I thought, could England just play Jacob Bethell as the spinner? I'm not saying that he plays instead of Pope, bats at 3, and then you pick 4 seamers. I'm saying you turn that into a top 8, and Bethell comes in for Bashir. Let me run you through the top 8. Crawley, Duckett, Bethell, Root, Brooke, Pope, Stokes, and then Jamie Smith at number 8. That is a ridiculous top 8 right there. And before anyone says, oh, Bethell can't hold up an end, if England were worried or thinking about picking a spinner to hold up an end, they would have picked Liam Dawson. They wouldn't have picked Shoaib Bashir, who goes at a rate of just under 4 per over. Will Jacks goes at 4.2 and Bethell goes at 4.4. So, I think Jacob Bethell could do the job that England want their spinner to do. However, the last time a side came to Perth and failed to pick an out-and-out spinner and went with the part-timer Vihari at number 6 in the batting order, it all went wrong for India. Nathan Lyon at the other end took 8 in the match, including a 5 for 67, whilst Vihari only scrapped 2 wickets in the second innings with none in the first. So I think it's a safer option just for England to pick that frontline spinner. It all comes down to this then, my decision. Who is going to bowl spin in the first Ashes Test in Perth? And I can't help but feel that it is going to be Shoaib Bashir. I think England are going to back their top 7 batters to score all the runs, and they're going to pick their 4 bowlers plus Stokes, who they think are most likely to take the 20 wickets. And there's been all this chat about how Bashir works in Australia, his overspin, his height is going to do the job. They're not going to drop him now, are they? Bashir, 100% I think England are going to pick. It's all nice saying a top 8, including Jacob Bethell, but you've got to save your backup batter, don't you, for later in the innings. You can't just play them all in that first Test. They all get no runs, and who do you go to? You know, that's really important. And I can just see Bashir getting Steve Smith out in the 90s with a rank long hop, caught deep mid-wicket. That is all to come. So make sure to comment below your next Ashes questions. And it's been a pleasure, again, as always, on Ashes Questions. Subscribe.